Hello and welcome to the So Far So Rare podcast. This week I was joined by Dazzer, aka Darren, and we talked about loads of things. I was a bit of a Debbie Downer. A lot of these topics, I don't know, getting a bit frustrated with the lack of movement on So Rare's front. Talked about the special weekly, maybe the underwhelming prizes, um, maybe just being greedy. Talked about the legends, talked about the progression bar, talked about all sorts of stuff, and answered lots of your questions. I hope you enjoy it. If you do subscribe to catch us every week and like the video while you're here. So, Darren, aka Dazzer, I'm going to interchange between those by mistake throughout this podcast. Thank you so much for joining me. It's been another big week on SoRare. There was the special weekly. There's loads to talk about. There was a ruling or a sort of clarification of rules we're going to talk about. But before we do all that, let people listening know just a little bit about yourself so they can kind of judge you a little bit before we get stuck in.
Cheers, John. Yeah, thanks for having me on the show. I've been on the platform now for quite a while, I suppose. November 2020. Took a long time to get on, which was probably more annoying because I could have bagged a few more bargains right at the start. Sort of dabble in the limited and rare market. I've got a number of teams. I normally put out probably 10 to 15 teams on a weekend, game week. Hopefully a few more in the next few weeks. But yeah, I've got quite a lot of teams, quite a lot of cards that play. Quite successful since the limiteds came in. Start I was a bit hesitant, didn't know where the platform was going. So basically, like I say, I could have bought more cards quite easily. But yeah, when the limiteds came in, I made that decision to go with those players that I suppose that I wanted to have that were fun. Not just grinding teams out and trying to nick the ETH every week. So been on a while now, so I suppose I'm one of the veterans, shall we say.
A limited wheel, looking at some of the cards you have there. You got them at great prices compared to today. I see your Bellingham and Pedri and
I didn't even, someone asked a question about the cards that I had, and obviously I put them up, some of the ones I was picking, and I was like, I didn't even realise I had some of these cards. It was compared to what they are now, yeah, it's again, like I say, it's always what ifs. Could have gone for more when they first came out.
Yeah, there's some beautiful cards there. Some guys playing absolutely great football at the minute as well, with like Carlson, Gakpo, Veerman's been absolutely amazing since he's went to PSV. Some people sort of were worried that he wouldn't have the same role with the likes of his Sangare over there, and there's a bit more competition than he had at Heerenveen. But yeah, he's done amazing. So it's been a big week. There's a lot to talk about. I suppose you've been on here just to sort of clarify. You mentioned it there. I have your wee date just to give it a shout out. The 26th of November 2020. So you were a pre-boomer. You were in just probably about 6 weeks after me. We managed to snag some bargains. Hopefully you've. Let me see. I'm going to go back in your gallery right to the start. Did you get many? Did you take advantage of it? Do you have any?
I think so. Botman, Jonathan David, Visharan.
Oh yeah.
You've got some. Like I say, could have been so many more. So many hesitations. And that's the killer.
But that's what I said. Like, sorry, there's a small delay, but that's what I said. Like last week was, back then it did seem like we were paying silly money. It was only, when you look at today, it looks like pittance and like not a lot of money. But like at the time, I thought I was mad for spending that money on a JPEG. So it's all relative. But you have some nice bargains there from a long time ago, which is great to see.
Yeah, no, they. I think that what really stumped me when I started was I was so hesitant on buying a goalkeeper that played. I had a lot of keepers who sat on benches and did nothing. So yeah, I had to take that plunge, and I think the most expensive one I bought at the time was Drommel before he moved to PSV, and then Botlebor came and took him off me, so that freed me up some money to buy three players quite recently. But yeah, like I say, looking back, could have gone so much further with it. But yeah, when that Gary V boom came, it was ridiculous.
Yeah, it came and it came hard and it came fast.
It did. But players were listed and they were gone within 5 seconds. But
yeah, it was mad. It was mad, but I mean, in terms of like the volume and stuff, we're kind of getting back to those levels. I suppose something I want to throw at you here is, you've said to me that you play the game for fun, and I'm sure, look, you do play for other reasons as well, but you don't get too caught up in like Twitter drama and Discord generals and bitching and this and that. So I suppose I just want to hear your perspective, maybe as someone who's maybe one layer detached, if you're not sort of trolling through these social media platforms and forums. What's your perspective on the whole Blackpool thing? I kind of want to wrap it up early enough in this because we want to talk. I want to hear your perspective on it, and then I want to talk about the kind of ruling that came out and what I think of that, and the potential ramifications. And we'll go from there.
Well, like I say, I can see it from everyone's point of view. I don't get involved with it on Twitter because I don't see the Blackpool guys particularly costing me winning cards as such. My terrible team picks normally do that for me. SoRare need to basically, it's black and white, and I think they've come out this week and said that. So I say, while there's that grey area, people could use it. I say I speak to all the guys really that are on both sides of the fence, and I can see their points of view. But yeah, while that grey area is there, SoRare needs to just do something about it and basically lay their cards on the table and say, look, it's one person per account, and that's the end of the story. There's no sharing accounts and whatever you want to do. That's your account, and just play the game. But hopefully it's been sorted and it's basically done, and everyone can get back playing again. It only damages the platform at the end of the day.
I have a lot to say on it, and it's not that I think I'm particularly well versed. I was away off in Spain there over the weekend over a lot of this, and actually during that announcement, and I was away with Quinny and Hendo and a few other lads, and I have to say we weren't exactly following Discord or the drama. We were following football and having a laugh. But just a few things that jump out in my mind, right? So basically, off the back of the Blackpool thing, the guys had like one sort of midweek, one game week suspension, whatever else. And I mean, like, part of me, people wanted blood, and there wasn't really enough blood. There was a few things that were done that were maybe morally questionable, but I think the main issue here, and it's abundantly clear now, is just that the T's and C's and rules are not fit for purpose. They're just not good enough. And I think because of that, SoRare haven't been able to hang anyone out to dry because the rules weren't sort of clear enough. And it would have been tough for SoRare to hang anyone out to dry when there's so much money at play. And it wouldn't have been good for the platform to do that either. Now, what taken away, whatever they've done, right? The thing that gets me is that it goes back to this, and I think it has to change soon. But at the minute, as it stands right now, one account per natural person is the line, right?
Yeah.
So as it stands, and I was kind of saying to everyone last week, don't do this, you get caught for multi-accounting. The bottom fucking line is the Blackpool are doing it.
Yeah.
So everyone can fucking do it now. Yeah, and you best believe I am going to look into getting my dad an account, my mum an account, my sister an account, my dog an account, my uncle an account. My neighbour looks like she could do with an account. And I don't know if I can be arsed with the maintenance of that, the admin of that, working all that out, doing it so that it's cohesive with the rules, doing it not to get caught, doing it with you deposit through different MetaMask wallets and different wallets here. IP address shouldn't be an issue. Multiple people in the same household can play. And I know SoRare aren't going to like me saying this, but I don't really care because it's the fucking rules, and the biggest, richest people on the platform are doing it and abusing it. So everyone else is well within their rights, my opinion, to set up an account for their girlfriend. Set up an account for your girlfriend.
You can do it and you want to do it and you got the time to do it. Until they stop you, then people are going to do it. There's nothing.
Go and fucking do it.
Yeah, I couldn't disagree. Like I say, I just don't like the negativity of it they brought that week, because in the whole bigger picture, it just makes the program look a bit shit, which basically we all enjoyed for however long you've been on it. But like I say, the company running it is in charge and they need to sort it out.
Exactly. Like, to butt in and even go further, right? And again, it's one of those that, look, I know it's bad for the platform. That if everyone who is on kind of like the budget where they could stick out 2 threshold teams as opposed to one decide to do that through their mate. But what gets me is that the richest people and the biggest accounts on the platform are doing it. So why the fuck shouldn't we do it?
Mm-hmm.
I don't. SoRare have made there no reason not to do it. As long as you play by the rules, as long as you don't get caught, as long as you use the right wallets, as long as you don't multi-account and you follow those rules as Blackpool have done, from one bankroll and one entity as such, through using physical natural people, you can have multiple accounts and yield multiple thresholds each week. Now, this is where my the reason I'm probably not really going to do it comes in. I think that what they have done says pretty blatantly that the threshold is on its way out.
Yeah, it won't stay if lots of people start doing it, would it? It's going to go straight away. And I know a lot of people obviously probably play to hit that threshold every week. If it goes, do they lose a lot of players? That's the thing. I know when I started, that was my target every week. I couldn't get cards. I was nowhere near them. But I say if people are going to start playing 3, 4, 5 accounts and hitting that threshold with 3, 4, 5 accounts, it will disappear very quickly. So
yeah,
that's the worry.
I've seen people talking about, and they'll know who they are. I'm not going to name anyone. I've seen people talking about setting up their own little mini DAOs between friends, and one of their mates who doesn't have an account using him as the natural person and going from there.
Yeah,
And they're well within the rights to do that. For me, the reason I probably won't do it is because I do think the threshold's on its way out. I think it's unsustainable, and I think what's going to happen is at this stage, if I was to make a guess, and this is a prediction without any sort of inside information, I haven't a fucking clue. I have about 10 unanswered messages I've sent to people at SoRare about all this shite. My speculation would be that end of the European season, big changes over the summer in terms of progression bars, other game modes. I think they'll update the game rules. I think thresholds will be phased out for next season. If I had to guess, I reckon we'll milk it for another month or two. But it's a reason why I'm not too bullish on setting up maybe an ETH grinding team for the summer now. I think it's the move, but I think it could go tits up very quick. But I do believe that whatever they replace the thresholds with should maintain the value of those threshold grinding players anyway. But
that's the
basic.
If the ETH goes, then where's the progression bar coming from? When was it even spoke? A year ago? I don't know, maybe less. But it's been there in the background for so long. But has it really been in the background? Was it something they said and then thought, actually, we're not going to do this? And what direction does it go? Do you win points to unleash more ETH, or is it more cards? Or like I say, it's so many. So when it came in, I wasn't overly fan of it. I didn't think it'd be a great idea. I thought maybe it was just something that would entice more people into play the game at that point. And then, like you say, it just went dead, just as quick as the legend cards went dead. So what replaces the ETH? I have no idea. It can't just be winning cards, because people can't hit cards every week.
No, they've said on this progression bar there'll be like 3 options. There'll be the Ethereum option, the cards option, or the XP option, which I like. It's how they manage that, and I trust them. I do, whether I should or not. I trust them to do it in a way that maintains value of 45 average players. Your classic tier 2, high tier 3 type guy. I trust them, because otherwise the market crashes and shits itself, and only the premium guys have value. I don't see that, but my prediction at this stage is that I've stopped over the last maybe 2 to 3 days telling the 10 people who reach out to me every day saying, how should I start this game? I've stopped telling them, start grinding ETH if you can afford it. I'm saying, have some fun with limiteds, man. I'm not getting involved with telling people to chase ETH thresholds when they're so blatantly on the way out. We know they're on the way out. I'm not acting like I know something, or I'm making some grand speculation. But what I'm saying is, like, we've sort of been like, we've expected them to go 6 months ago and they didn't go. It's been 6 months. My call now, and I'm probably wrong, I hope I'm right, is, well, I don't know if I hope I'm right. I hope I'm right for my own pride, but not necessarily for the impact it'll have. I think the thresholds go at the end of this European season. I think they revise the matrix, a couple of minor tweaks to maybe the goalkeepers, the fullbacks, different bits like that. And I think, thresholds are gone, and we get a big change over the summer.
I think, like I say, that at the moment, winning the ETH every game week near enough, if you can, has just been a massive bonus. I thought it'd go before this season, the European season started. But like I say, I can't remember the last time they spoke about the progression bar directly. It's more the community that talks about it, but like you say, it's unsustainable to carry on giving away thousands and thousands of pounds. Especially if, fingers crossed, they're spending it on getting new leagues to come in.
Yeah. No, look, we'll see what happens. I just think like it is what it is. I'm sick of fucking talking about the whole Blackpool bit. It is what it is. You know, I don't think SoRare can do anything about it. I think they'd shit historic rules. They're obviously seeking legal counsel to change the rules. I think we'll see big changes this summer. That's my call. I don't think it's any mad revelation. I don't think it's a mad prediction. I think it's probably what a lot of people are thinking. But
yeah,
I suppose a word of warning to anyone trying to grind ETH or starting the game and they've built an ETH grinding team. I think there will be changes there. I don't think it'll crash the value of those players entirely, but just be aware that maybe thresholds won't be here all summer. They could be going next week for all we know. Maybe it doesn't even take that long. And you know what? What does uncertainty bring? It doesn't bring money into a platform.
It goes the other way, like I say.
Now, we're lucky loads of people are signing up, loads of people are bringing money in anyway, but a bit of certainty, a bit of a roadmap, a bit of clarity wouldn't go amiss, and I think it would have a lot more people, you know, getting in because they still think they're early. Another point on that, something I actually do want to kind of throw the toys out of the pram about. There's another one to the toys out of the pram count. And it's mentioned every couple of weeks now, and maybe I might have actually done this exact rant like last week or 3 weeks ago or something. Legend cards.
Yeah.
It is fast getting to the point of a complete and utter fucking scam, to say the least.
What was the point?
They obviously got the licenses, had to pop cards out, were very excited to do so. They have a very clear and easy model that they have already described to score these cards. Was this last week I was bitching about it? I think it was last week. Okay, maybe I don't need to do this again. Maybe I don't need to do this whole thing again. But
the thing is, like, people that bought them, I haven't bought any. I haven't got any at all. And I know that the game structure that you're talking about, but I say for people that bought them whenever they came out, I've just sat there and there's not been one special weekly for them to use them in, do anything. They're just sitting there in people's wallets. So, you know, doing nothing. I don't get, like I say, if they'd have done that and done a special weekly, monthly, using them, but like I say, I didn't buy into it. I didn't really see the point of it at the time, and I'm quite grateful I didn't go into it, to be fair. But yeah, it's a very strange one because, like I say, you had that video that came out was brilliant with all the players on. But yeah, what direction that goes and why it's taking so long, you just don't know.
It's right again, and I will move on because I just remembered that I bitched about this last week. It's just been in my mind. I don't want people thinking I'm doing this because I own some legends. I have like 6 limited legends, right? And with all due respect, based on the size of my gallery, that's a very, very small percentage. It's negligible. So this isn't for my own personal financial gain or legends status. I say this every week as well. I do back they will fix it someday, so I think it's probably not a bad idea to buy a few. But what pisses me off is that Legends video was so good and it was so exciting and it did appeal potentially to a different audience. It appealed to a more collector, nostalgic audience. It appealed to a different audience altogether. People who just loved those players and whatever else, big fans of those guys, wanted to come in and get involved. And every single one of those people has had a bad experience where the utility they were promised has not been delivered.
Yep.
And the amount of people who were new, who were in the limited kind of space anyway, who maybe stretched to buy their favorite Ronaldo or even a David Villa or a Van Basten, have been sat with a lack of utility for months that was promised. It's over-promising and under-delivering, and it's just simply not fucking good enough. It cannot be hard to run a wee special weekly. Do it before the end of the European season, because after you do, we're waiting until next year. I think that will have been like a whole year since the Legends were announced. I don't know, like, again, it's not like I'm losing much utility. It's not like I'm really actually worried about it personally. But as a concept, I think it is a red flag. It's not a nice thing. And it does, again, add uncertainty to people, pisses people off. It was a promise that wasn't delivered. Give us a fucking update. You mean to tell me SoRare HQ haven't had a conversation about this around the table over the last 2 months? They have to have a plan.
Exactly. They didn't just launch them and just put them in the back burner. They must talk about stuff. But people want to know, like I say, because those people that have bought in, it just annoys them and they could just be gone straight away. And you don't want people leaving. I know like the sign-ups are going up and up every week. But you're losing people for the unnecessarily if that's the way they're looking at it. And is it just the limiteds, isn't it, that can potentially play? Is that right? That they'll
No,
score?
the other ones will be able to play, but I don't think bonuses will matter.
Okay. So, like I say, yeah, they need to do something with it, and otherwise, like you say, you just annoy people.
Yeah,
for something that's not that hard to put right.
it can't be that hard. They've the literal mechanism there. Just pop up a little bonus Legend Special Weekly in the mix tab some week. Done.
That's why I
Throw
don't.
in a few limited prizes or a wee rare prize or whatever. Like,
the special weekly. Why does it only have to be one special weekly every week? Can't they do different ones? And I don't know.
Well, that was the plan. This was going to be an extra one. That was in the initial thing. This is going to be extra. It's not going to take the special weekly spotlight. It's going to be
the
Legend Weekly or whatever. But I don't know. Look, that's 2 weeks in a row. Hopefully I don't forget again and bitch about it next week. But maybe I just need to keep bitching about it until they fix it, because how many people have Legends? Thousands.
Exactly.
Anyway, positives, maybe. The special weekly, did it excite you? Did you have any luck?
Finally, because obviously it gave people who are maybe down sort of my end with the limiteds and the rares the chance to win a super rare or a unique. There's obviously so many people involved that are never going to be able to buy one. The only super rares I've ever had are the sort of tier 3 end. But yeah, that progression by winning cards is what surely it should be about. Even from the common competition, common league, where I know there's only three yellows that you can win, but that should be more. To me, every first prize in that should be a progression card, basically, not just winning a rare, because otherwise you're relying on people to pay money to buy a card, basically. And for the first time, like I say, the special weekly, I actually went there first to put my team in, rather than sort of can I enter it and see what happens, basically. But yeah, just something like that every week would be great, where you can physically progress while we wait for the progression bar to arrive. So hopefully they do it again more regularly. Again, I've just seen on Twitter the first prize. I don't know whether the person's sort of saying it, is it good enough, etc. It's a unique. I haven't got any. There's thousands of people that haven't got any. So whatever they're going to put out that helps people get better cards, whether that's player wise or money wise, then that's got to be a good thing for people to win better cards.
I hope they keep the kind of series of the next 3-4 special weeklies being known, so people can scout and buy accordingly and look ahead. I like it. I like the jackpot factor, the unique. I do like it all. I think it's very positive. I think there was a lot of excitement around this special weekly. Just for anyone listening, I went over to Spain. I've mentioned it already. I was there with a couple of guys. The whole thing was vlogged, and at one stage, me and Quinny, who I was there with, were sitting 1 and 2 in the special weekly. Which, what are the odds of that out of 11,000 people?
Did you think you had a chance at that point, or you knew that it was?
I did have a chance. I actually did have a chance, because I overtook Quinny at one stage. I think we both got overtook and we were sat in second and third. And whenever you actually looked back down the rankings, we definitely had a chance. The thing that killed us was Zenit. If Zenit hadn't done what they did and a couple of players hadn't got 85, 90 scores, I would have been in the uniques. But aside from it, I think it added a lot of excitement. If anyone, that vlog was great crack, the sweat of that. So people check out my YouTube channel if you want to see that. It'll be out probably next Monday. But yeah, I think my one thing about the special weekly, right? I ended up finishing 4th, which is a huge result. That's one off. I was a couple of points off a podium in a competition, again, of over 11,000 people. That is an amazing result, right? And I know that it's just going to sound greedy, right? Take myself out of it. Genuinely take myself out of it. We were talking at the weekend about it and stuff, me and the boys, before we even knew we'd be in contention. And there was so much excitement about this special weekly. I'm being such a Debbie Downer today. I haven't been one in a while. I'm normally quite bullish. Anyone who says I won't call SoRare out if they're being dicks, let this episode be a lesson to you. Right? Again, people will disagree with this, but I don't care. I really think they could have, now that we know the rewards, any rewards better than a kick in the balls. Yes, uniques were given out. Yes, super rares were given out. I will argue in the wrong order, but I'm not going to go to town on it, but I will mention it. there could have been a slightly more exciting tier 1 unique, maybe, to make a statement and make people a bit excited about the month to come. But then the converse of that maybe is that then you set a precedent of what you have to fulfill, and the next tier 1 unique guy will expect it. But like, I don't know. I was literally talking over the weekend, like someone's getting a 20, 30 grand card. You know, someone is winning a tier 1 unique. Like, someone's going to win a baller here. And, maybe it is completely random. I don't know if I believe it would be for something like this, the first unique they've given away in a long time. But, like, I just feel it could have been a little more of an exciting prize to really everyone to get buzzing, regardless of who won it. But maybe I'm just being a greedy fuck.
No, I'd agree. Like I've seen it, and that's J League player. But yeah, even if it's someone from the Belgium league, or do you know what I mean? It's just someone more exciting. I totally agree. Would have been the way to sort of launch that. And maybe the next one, it's sort of a less league as such. But yeah, I just whether it is like you say, do they do it so it's randomly selected, or is it picked before?
They tell you it's random, but do you believe that? Like,
no. Is someone opening that up and it's going to be, I don't know, a Yari Vasharan or something? Do you know what I mean? Are they giving that money away? Who knows? How much is the
let's look at
how much is that unique?
We have the pool for next week. And in fairness now, in the pool, I mean, you've got Fede Valverde, Takefusa Kubo, Locatelli, Adamu at Salzburg. You've got Tonali there, Buckdart, Frank Kessie, Tomori, Zaniolo, Hoffman, Kokuk, Lacroix, Seiwald. I mean, they go on. The amount of incredible players here. Mbolo, Suslov. I'm just Frimpong. I could go on and on and on. Angelino, Keylor Navas, bada. There was a lot in there. I don't know. Look, even maybe it's random. Maybe it is what it is, and that's that, and that's fine. It's just like I don't know. I would have loved to have seen like a genuine, holy good. What?
Yeah. You have to make a statement, surely.
Yeah.
The first time I've done it, it's one card, and that's when whoever's won that, or when it's gone on Twitter or wherever it's been shared, is like, is anyone like amazed by it? That's the.
Everyone's going to say, who's that?
Yeah, who's that?
For a tier 1.
It's a unique that you can sell. That's what probably people will be thinking right now. Whoever's won it, I'll just sell it. Buy some rares.
Yeah.
And that's the way I see it. You're right. Definitely. When you open that, you've got to basically go, wow, that's amazing. And I'm not sure that happened. Whoever opened that.
Yeah. Like, I mean, there has to be like tier 1 super rares in the under 23 pool that are worth more than that. Maybe I'm wrong. Let me go and check. I'm going to go and do this. I know it's a wee bit tedious, but like, give me a minute. Under 23. Yeah, a tier 1 super rare. Fabio Vieira.
Yeah.
Would be worth more. Pedro Gonçalves would be worth more. Paqueta would be worth more. Dani Olmo, Openda, Delict, Araujo, Guardiol, Lucoba. There's a million of them there. I don't know. I just look. It is what it is. Unique was given away. It was a great event. Everyone had a lot of fun. I am being a Debbie Downer. I get that. But I don't know. Maybe I just had built it up over the weekend in my mind that someone's getting a 10 or 20 grand card here. Now, this is definitely better than nothing. It's amazing. It is a unique. There's 2 other uniques behind it. But here comes my next bitchy point. And maybe I wouldn't even care about this, and I never bitch about this. This is purely selfish, right? I came 4th. I got the top tier 2 card. And I got a guy called Grishel Prommel, who apparently is decent. Apparently he's off to Hoffenheim next year. Whatever else. He scores okay. The super rare is worth 0.3 if I'm lucky. 0.3 for coming 4th out of 11,000 people. Okay, whatever. Let's take even the value out of it. Let's look at utility. The guy behind me got Danilo from Juventus, whose rare card costs probably the same or more than my bloody super rare. He's on an average of 75 over the last 5, 70 over the last 15, and 60 points over the last 40. Of his last 6 games, he's hit 90 twice and he's hit 80 twice. He's a monster. The guy behind me got that. The guy behind that got Adrian Rabiot. The guy behind that got Jose Maria Jimenez. And here I am,
you got
sat
the player
above them all with a shitter.
Yeah, you got the player I've never heard of. That's the way. And it's just basic things like that do annoy people. and that's the problem. It's like you must know that surely the person finishing fourth needs to get a better card than the person finishing seventh or fifth or sixth. But then, like you say, it's a card, but you've put that effort into. You're so close to a unique, 11,000 people, and you build yourself up. And obviously, it's not where most people would want someone I don't know who plays for. So that's the way I look at it.
But look, if I take away my own selfishness, I do think that's broken. This must happen across all the rewards all the time. I just don't bother really looking, to be honest. But this time it really jumped out at me because I was like, I wonder what the guys just below me got. And I would swap my reward for the three below me, hands down. Not a question. And probably some even further down. It is what it is. They can't accurately value every single one, whatever else, blah, blah, blah. Again, it's just a little bit disappointing. But if I'm going to throw the other spin on it, people won uniques with limiteds. People won super rares with limiteds, and that's the other side of it. It's not like this was a super rare only type vibe, and the best teams and the best cards that cost tens of thousands yielded some shit guy. It's guys who bought cards with they bought limiteds to enter, and they've just walked away with a unique.
Yep.
And lots of super rares have been given out to limited card players. So I think the whole event is a success. The intricacies, or maybe just the luck of the draw, it could just be the luck of the draw of the prizes, for me is a little bit disappointing for the biggest marquee to kick it all off. But then maybe next week it makes up for it, maybe the week after. Maybe it's just variance, and maybe this week was just a shit week for rewards.
That's what I mean. Just tested the water this week to see how many people actually entered it, and clearly it was a success that way. The busiest
maybe a unique Zaniolo drops next week and we're like, oh my god, or
and then everyone forgets what happened this week.
Yeah. So look, maybe I am a bit of a Debbie Downer today. I've said that word about 10 times. I've said it a lot more over the last few years on podcasts, but yeah, it is what it is. I think I've done with all my bitching, to be quite frank. Is there anything exciting that's happened? There's a lot of uniques on offer. There's a lot of uniques on the market.
They look like they're trying to sell them before the end of the European season. So if you did a Boubacar Kamara go the other day? Is that a unique that went, I think, quite cheap? I saw someone maybe said they got it for less than 10 ETH or
8 ETH.
Yeah, 8 I think it went for, yeah. So
that does seem quite cheap for that.
Yeah. I don't know when it sold, whether it was late night or early morning, but I definitely saw the guy on Twitter put it out. He thought he was going to have to pay 10 plus, and he got it for about 8.
I'd be very tempted with, I don't think I'll have anywhere near the budget to get it, but Xerxes, if I could partner him up with my super rare Sharon, the issue is that they inevitably get split up this summer, so
yeah, he goes back.
Probably a bad call. But there's a few interesting ones there. Malacia, Solet, Pedro Goncalves, Sucic, butchering names here for fun. Hoffman, Verts is the big one. Very excited to see how that one ends up.
That'll surely be a Sunday. Surely.
It's 2 days, 3 days away. What's today? Tuesday? No, it's Friday night.
Friday night, yeah.
Yeah.
So they're putting them out. When do they go to? They're going to 6 a day, aren't they? 6 a day uniques.
There's quite a few happening. Let me see. Every 2 hours, 3, 4 hours, 4 hours, 4 hours. Every 4 hours, is it? Yeah, 6 a day.
One day I'll get involved. Not at the moment.
Someday.
Yeah.
Anyway, look, it's one of those weeks. There's a lot of shite here, but I'm very excited for the upcoming special weekly. I'm very excited for the upcoming game weeks. Personally, I've had a couple of great weeks on the rewards front. I had a great haul last week. I got a super rare Geertruida. I got a super rare Geertruida, and I won a Matt Turner, and I won another guy I sold who's gone. But did you win any rewards this week, and who did you win?
This week I scraped a tier 3, a Bora, I think a 33-year-old from Villarreal, beneath. But last game week I grabbed a Malcolm Star Limited and a tier 2, the young lad from Villarreal, Pino, is it?
Pino, that's a cracking reward.
Great tier 2, so I was more than happy with that. But I've certainly picked up my rewards. I think I'm not far off 100 now.
Oh wow!
since I went to the limited. Yeah, so that having that limited card introduced definitely made the platform more exciting, shall I say. I was doing it before, but it just gave you that chance to play with players that you kind of want in your gallery. And
I hear you. I
picked up.
won this week. Sorry, there was a small delay there. This week I won Ellie's Skahiri, who's at Cologne. I picked up Grisha Prommel, super rare. I got Abdul Kahar Kadri, who's a Kortrijk, and I got Kento Misao, who's at Kashima Antlers. I got a limited there that I'm giving away to YouTube subscribers. So successful week. After the last week, I think that's 8 rewards in 2 weeks and a midweek one, so probably 9 rewards over the space of sort of 10 days. Probably my biggest haul ever in that space of time. So very, very happy.
You still keeping count of your monthly winnings as such?
Yeah, I'll be doing that video this week, actually, later this week. I think that could be one of my best months.
Yeah.
February, maybe. Couple of super rare, just back-to-back super rares the last 2 weeks. Sinistera. And that gives you another perspective. Like last week in a normal competition, I came like 12th and I got Gertruda. Price-wise, he's worth 3 times more than the guy I got for coming 4th out of 11,000 people in the special weekly.
Yeah. That puts into perspective.
You know, and that's why, like, yes, I hear the side of it that's like, shut up, limiteds, you get super rares, you know, don't be so ungrateful.
Yeah.
That's that side. I get it. The other side is when you look at it in comparison, I just think like, meh. I was very excited to open my reward today, very disappointed, but it is what it is. We'll move on from that. Dazzer, we have lots of questions people submitted for us. Will we give them a go?
Yeah, go for it. I've had a read on Rizzo coming in.
You've had a read, so you have an idea of what's coming.
Yeah.
We'll go for the most liked first. It's from last week's guest, actually, MPen10. If you were handed the CEO role of SoRare tomorrow, what would you, first off, stop, second off, start, third, continue doing, and why? So what would you stop?
Is this what I'm supposed to say? Multi-accounting, I think. We'll stop there, though. I would stop common cards if you don't want them, because my gallery is just full of commons that I have to get rid of and can't find the cards I want to find. So I think there should be maybe an opt-out option, or they introduce a new game for commons so they could use more. But yeah, that would be what I'd stop. I'd go for an easy one. Just common cards if you don't want them anymore. That would be.
That's fair. To go off on a tangent, mid-question, right, about common cards. I don't know, again, if I said this last week or not, so apologies to people listening if I'm just being that repetitive, annoying guy. I think it'd be really fun for them. Was it Mike who said, actually? Basically, to give you more reasons to use those commons, be it SO5 and then you go to SO11 and then, or just the different regions, just the different regions. Start an all-star as you fill out teams, you can enter the other regions. I mean, they're only giving out 3 rewards there. They can definitely afford to give out 5 times that across 5 regions. They definitely can. So they could make the common game a bit more immersive, in my opinion. Or I think a really creative idea or fun idea was a potential sort of trade-in. You trade in 10, 11 commons for a tier 3 limited. They've got them to give away. But then comes the gamification, multi-account and bots. But just ideas. I think there's a lot more that could be done with commons, but there's a lot more that could be done with 90% of the platform at the minute. Yeah.
No, I totally agree that the common cards, I'd say, if they introduce an SO11, I'd bite your hand off. Just more gameplay, because otherwise, like I say, you get one every week, wherever you finish. But do you ever use them? You can't get rid of them. So just try and do something with them.
Or like even something really creative, like the XP that your commons would generate, or the points that your commons score, you can apply that XP to a player, or half that XP to a player, or some little kicker. Just make it more fun, more gamey.
This is where surely they are sitting in their offices and talking about this stuff.
Yeah.
That's the thing, is like they if they're not sort of trying to onboard the new leagues and do what they're trying to do, someone must be there talking about what new games we're going to bring in. Whether it's, like I say, an SO11, SO8, whatever we're thinking. But there must be someone who's employed to do that. I just don't I don't see what they're doing otherwise, because the game now is running itself. But just when's the next stage going to come where there's something slightly different?
I think there's about 10 million things that'll all come at once, or like over a short period. And we look back at this game. I look back at YouTube videos of me clicking around the site and it'll look alien. At least that's what I hope, because there's a million ideas everyone has, and there's 500,000 of them are good ideas. It's like there's so much that can be done and so little that is being done. It just has to be a case of them recruiting, training people up, getting people ready, building the right features. For me, the end of the European season is a logical kind of time to implement mass change and get us ready for next season, and hopefully, fingers crossed, the Prem. Like that sounds like it makes sense to me. If loads of things don't come at the end of the European season, and if in September I'm sitting here having the same conversation, if I'm here in September having this exact same conversation, I will have sold a lot of my cards. I can guarantee you that, because it'll be massive red flags at that stage. I don't think it'll come to that. If I was a bet man, I really don't think it'll come to that. And that's why I have so much money in SoRare. But yeah, just as kind of a statement, I think, like, yeah, I'd like to see some things move on soon. Even though I've just put out a new beginner's tutorial, it would still be nice to see me have to do another one, see things change. What would you start doing if you were CEO?
Well, if like I said, I would try and introduce new games, and the one I'd bring in straight away with Limited Pro. Again, I don't know why didn't that happen when the others happened. I know it's probably something to do with the common goalkeepers and people obviously using them for their rares, but I would just look to bring in more games, giving people options, whether it's, I suppose, like the special weekly, whether that's you're introducing a new league, in terms of number of cards you can pick. I think that you just need to vary it up. For the new people joining now, SO5 is great. You get in, you play it, but if you've been on a long time, do you want to see something slightly different? The only thing I'd say is, like 6 months ago, when we didn't have the Bundesliga and La Liga, so things are moving quickly, but we just want things to move even quicker, and that's the problem with it. It looks like nothing's really happened since before Christmas, just sort of game week to game week, but loads of things are probably happening. And if they've gone quiet because of they're just about to finalise the Premier League, then all will be forgiven, I suppose, because that will be huge if they do that, and no one can even complain.
Yeah. I agree. I'm just thinking, like, about the Premier League thing. Like, I get it, like, but it doesn't take 40 employees to do that.
No.
Surely to God, there's like that's Nicholas and 3 others, or I don't even know. I'm not a guy who knows, but I assume, like, a lot of people and lawyers do this and make proposals and blah blah blah. But I mean, like, the guy sitting in that boardroom's probably Nicholas, isn't it?
Yeah,
with someone else. Like, the minions can still be working away, building things and creating and changing, and I don't know. It just
we're at the final stages, I think, aren't we, of the Premier League one? And if that's what's about to come, whether it's now or at the end of the season, then fair play to them, because that will be.
It's funny, like, I could be the deadliest downer in the world and sit here and bitch. You see, if they drop that tomorrow, I'll be like singing from the rooftops how amazing they are. That's how quickly things can change. Exactly. But all honestly, a few wee nice things would change the sentiment quite quickly. A few really, really, really small things that are really easy to do. Little fun things, just add more engagement. The game's fun and all that, like, but I mean, anyway, this has been probably, I had a really fun weekend because of SoRare. I was literally screaming at players on pitches, and it increased my engagement in football tenfold.
Did PK see the hat in the stand?
PK seen that. I don't know. I think he seen the hat. He glanced at it, but he didn't respond more. He might have looked at it and not clocked it. I don't know. I was just shouting SoRare in his face, hoping he'd be like, yeah, but nah. Someday I'll interview him. Someday. But yeah, what I'm saying is, like, even after the 10 rewards or something in like 2 weeks, some of my best weeks in SoRare, really engaging at football games, really fun at football games. Still, I'm here being just a bit, I think it's like back to reality, just looking at how slow things are. Anyway, time to move on and try and be a bit more upbeat. What would you continue doing? Mike wants to know. What do you think they're doing well? I think these special weeklies would be my answer.
Yeah, I think if there's no progression bar coming in the near future, but there might be, I think you've just got to offer people something where they can see a progression, and that is playing with limiteds to win uniques or limiteds to win super rares. Because, like I say, they're still probably out of most people's reach to go in there and just buy a super rare. The ones that you want anyway. So I think the special weekly has to just go. This is you've started it. Carry it on and make it bigger. Change it up every week. That would be my thing. They're doing brilliantly. Just like I say, I think a year ago it was like 5,000 people were playing with one card. Was it? Now it's like 100,000 people, and they do a bit of promotion here and there. Very limited at the moment, and it's just growing naturally. So that's brilliant what they're doing. What we're saying in a year's time, 250,000, 500,000, who knows? But for whatever that they're doing there, it's you, Quinny, all the other guys, you're promoting it, and people are signing up to it. I guess people from other countries are doing the same, and you're doing that sort of work for them as such before they do dump a load of cash and promote something or advertise somewhere.
I will say, when I was at the 2 matches at the weekend, SoRare was plastered on the boards on the side, like every 3 minutes on a loop, it would be there. It was really, really prominent throughout both games, which was great. But yeah, look, again, I've been a bit of a Debbie Downer. People are gonna. There should be a Debbie Downer swear jar here, by the way. I've said it too many times, but the thing is, like, there's all those positives, but the positives, like, we're used to them. We've praised them over them a million times. There's no taking away from what's been achieved in the last year. Has been absolutely phenomenal, even in the last 6 months, last 3 months. But yeah, I suppose whenever you live and breathe it every day, you just want a wee bit more sometimes. Orange Fly, or sorry, do you have something to say?
No, I was going to say that is the problem. Like I say, we're living it and breathing it every day. You're checking stuff, and you just want more to happen, and that's just down to being selfish, I suppose. You just want the game to be, offer more stuff.
Absolutely.
But the business to them, and they're doing what they need to.
Orange Fly, aka Bob Flynn, wants to know, how much value does fun have for you? He went into limiteds with the same idea and found that it brought a lot of joy and love of football back. He struggles to comprehend what that costs for him. Cheers. So it is that kind of, I always said, entertainment has value. It's like its own currency. And I always say that to people when they sign up. Like, I mean, setting up a threshold team might be profitable, but if you're playing with players you don't give a shit about, you're not going to be able to watch. How engaging is it? Maybe you just want to pick guys from teams you watch every week, and it'll increase just the enjoyment of the football watching experience.
He dropped me a private message as well and sort of said the same thing. Thanks for acknowledging his tweet. And I get it, because I do work in football all the time as my job, and I switch off from football until I started playing SoRare again, where now I do watch football at the weekends. It has brought that. I wouldn't sit and watch Lille, for example, but now that I've got that on Sundays, or looking at the Dutch league, the Belgian league, to see who's playing. I'm doing it 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, answering emails and whatever, coaching. And I did switch off from it. I didn't come home and watch the Premier League. Might watch the Champions League game, but since this has been back, I'm watching football from all over the place. So I totally get what he's saying about bringing the interest back to football, and the fun side of things. Like I say, I suppose it's a hobby, and some people, I suppose, are using it to generate money. I was speaking to McBride the other day on Twitter, and I said, if someone came in and offered me a full whack for a gallery that I own, I'd be gone probably straight away, because you've got to be realistic about things. But I do get that about the enjoyment of football and just how much fun it can bring to it again. So yeah.
Yeah, like, I mean, whatever about watching football at home, I'm going to just talk about last weekend. We went to the Valencia game against Granada, and I was screaming for Carlos Soler the whole time. Very quiet first half. Within the first 15 minutes of the first half, he had 3 decisive actions. And, like, just from the angle we were sitting on, all the ball he put in for one of the goals, corner for the next, and then he penalty, and it was just, the buzz was something else. This was me as a neutral who really didn't care who won that game, screaming because Carlos Soler was getting decisives.
Yeah.
The next day, we were off at Barcelona at Ronald Araujo with no data at the stadium. We couldn't check the scores live. So I was literally counting every pass. He'd play a ball over the top for someone that would go out to play, and it'd be head and hands. Like, what's he done? Do you know, there's like possession lost. There's a point gone. Those 10 passes at the back are worth nothing now. Every time he passed the ball up the middle to Aubameyang and gets his head in the ball, I was like, yes, 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 yes. And then Depay comes onto the pitch, who I have as well, and scores a penalty. I don't know if you've seen it. Absolute top bin. Like, that was incredible. And a $5 bet on first goal score wouldn't have come close to counting every single action. A $10 bet on the correct result. I actually did bet. I bet. I think I put like $5 on 3-1 Valencia and won like £100, which was nice. But yeah. Aside from that, even just throughout the week, I love coming home, flicking through, depending on the night, depending on the day. You know, flicking through BT Sport and Premier Sports and this and that, and something will be on. It's like, oh, Leon's on. I have Kakare. Great. I'll watch this. And it could be Leon versus bloody Clermont or some shit.
Yep.
Why would I ever get? But I'm sitting watching it completely engaged, watching every movement from that kid.
Every time.
You know?
I know what you mean. I totally know. It's even like you said, I know you said it before about the Asian League. You wake up on a Saturday morning.
Some buzz.
You check to see who's played, and Kikuchi's killed me for the last 2 weeks because he hasn't even been on the pitch. But
yeah,
you know, it's like those sort of things. You don't. Why would you even worry about them apart from playing this game? So that's where I get when people are saying that the enjoyment value and the fun. You know, I think there was another question about subs. I'm not personally a fan of subs. I think the DMP is kind of a part of the game.
Is this the SoRare JM9? Do you think SoRare should bring in a substitute option just in case you get a DMP? Keep up the good work and can't wait to listen to it. Thanks for listening, SoRare JM9. And if you love it so much, I hope you've left a review. And everyone listening on Apple, please leave a review. It'll take you 10 seconds. If you're on Spotify, it'll take even less. Just click 5 stars on the podcast page, and I love you forever. So yeah, substitutes. Haven't talked about this in a while. There's been so many other fires to fight. You're not for it? I don't think I'm for it in this game mode.
No, not in this game. Yeah, I don't know if they brought something new in, something different. I think the DMP, and if you get just getting 5 people that start is a buzz. So, you know, if you're going to sort of replace a DMP and you know that you're always going to have 5, I think it's that bump the scores up as well. Obviously, everyone will be 5 players. So, unless you get 2 that are not playing, but yeah, no, I'm not a subs person. I think the current structure is all right, and we just get.
I think for SO5, it's fine. I actually think there's a bit of a buzz in finding out if your guy's starting, and there's a lot of strategy to it, a lot of digging, a lot of working it out. And yeah, it goes back to the whole, like, everyone with smaller galleries think it'll help them. Bottom line is Wales have a lot of people who they stick to training. I'm not even a Whale, and I've put Florian Wirtz into training this midweek.
Yeah.
You know, if I had a sub, I have a big advantage over you, probably, because is your sub going to be better than Wirtz? Probably not. Now scale that up to the guys whose gallery are worth 10 times mine, people who are worth twice mine, 3 times mine. It isn't an advantage to the small guy. I just don't see it. How do you think, this is from McBride, how do you see the prices and demand for limited evolving next season? Do you think that with the top scores needed, some mid-tier cards are overpriced?
I think that you do need the best of the best at the moment to get anywhere. I'm useless at keeping an ETH balance. I'll literally buy anyone and think that they're going to go to the moon, basically. But I have recently been starting to sell those sort of mid-card players, even if I'm making a loss on them, and just buying better players at the top end. I was quite fortunate, obviously, to get in early, so I got some of those better ones for decent prices for what they're selling now. But yeah, I think you'll see a drop. But then I thought that before. I thought there was a point where the limiteds, you know, I looked at some of the ones I'd bought, and they had basically dropped off the face of the planet, and then they come back again. It just goes on how they play at the end of the day. They could do nothing. You get 5 game weeks in a row when they get 60, 70 plus, their price can double quite easily. But yeah, like I say, it does worry me because, like I say, some of the players I've bought, I don't even use. I don't know why I've bought them, to be fair. Again, it's it's that strategy thing. Is like, I'll just buy this guy because I've got a spare 60 quid in my wallet or something for the sake of it.
Yeah.
Whereas actually, why don't you just save it and buy an actual rare keeper? But it's impossible. It's absolutely impossible to just save money. So, but yeah, that's where I see that.
If I talk about limited cards, something I find hard, a lot of people are asking me now in the DMs, it's getting to that stage where a lot of these new players are wondering, like, oh, what's the story? Do you know the season's coming to an end or price is going to crash? Should I move into America and Asia or should I not? Or da 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 da. And it's a really hard one. I think it's like, it hasn't happened before, is the first thing we need to realize. You know, it was only last August the limited cards come out. We haven't had a summer. It would be logical and fair to assume that your European limiteds should dip in value. I predict that the dip will come within the 6 weeks before the end of the season. And then as the season ends, people will see that as the opportunity to get in. So I think that the dip will actually be during the last few game weeks instead of when the season actually ends. I could be wrong. I've been wrong before. It's just my prediction. I think it kind of happened with the MLS, like where the dip is almost happening as people think they're being clever trying to sell the cards before the end of the season. But then once the season actually ends, people think everyone's looking to sell, so I'll buy. So inevitably the price might not dip as much as we think. But again, I could be full of shit. It hasn't happened before. I think a lot depends on the updates of progression bars and new divisions and new game modes. I just think it's impossible to truly predict it with any real certainty.
Like I say, they're the only one who knows what's coming. Like I say, if limited pros come in or SO 8, 11, who knows? You know, more weeklies. It's just one of those things, isn't it? They could just drop. They could stay where they are. The top prizes could go higher. They're never going to produce 1,000 cards in a season for probably any player, I'd say. I don't know where we're at now. So although they say 1,000, are we going to reach 1,000 for many players before the next set of limited cards come out?
I would doubt it.
And then who knows down the line? Is there going to be a one of 10,000? That's the. Is that the next step? But like I say, I do think that if you're going to buy, then buy the top ones, who you know play regularly. Because I definitely think some of those tier 2s are overpriced. You might as well just save your money and chuck all into a big one.
I have two questions here that I'm going to kind of tie into one. Two Bob Squirt says, will we ever get the progress bar? And if we do, how should it look? DJ Nice, this is a very sort of topical one based on, it's as if he's listening to us live. With the recent negativity around a range of things like Blackpool, the progress bar delays, legend cards, etc., what would it take to get the user base back on side and be getting really excited for the future again? And I think it's such a funny one because while all these things are pissing us off, I wouldn't even say I'm offside in terms of like, I feel like I love the game so much. I think it's so engaging and I have so much fun that because it's such a good game and because it's such a great fantasy product, we do let those things stay because we're all having so much fun and enjoying it and it's engaging every single week. But like for me, what I want is I just want some clarity. I just want an idea of what's coming and when. Now, they said towards the end of March they'd have a more firm announcement, didn't they? They said that a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, I saw that.
Let's get to the end of March.
That's what you want, is whether it's a roadmap just till the end of the European season or, but this sort of, oh, hang on, we're going to do an announcement and then it doesn't get announced, or it's announced and it's not as exciting as people hoped it was going to be. I don't think people want that. I think, like you say, something clear that everyone knows what's coming is the way forward. But yeah, the progression bar, I like what you said earlier, those three sort of areas that could, you know, whether you build up your points and then you claim the ETH or a card or the XP. That's just a simple structure, you know? And hopefully that's all it is. It doesn't need to be too dramatic as such and totally turn the game upside down, because like you say, although these things have happened, I still play it. As soon as the next game window opens, I'm on sorting a team out. I'd imagine that's the same for everybody.
Part of me wonders, is this a case of someone that's so rare and the whole middle management vibes and whatever else just not putting their balls in the line? Like, they don't want to overpromise and underdeliver, but ironically, that's exactly what they're doing every day. They don't deliver because they've already overpromised a long time ago. Is it a case of like it cannot be hard to say And it would give a lot of us, me anyway, a lot of reassurance if someone come out and was like, and maybe this is what we'll see in the next few weeks, a case of it's coming to the end of the season, the end of the European season, there's going to be changes going into next year. We're going to review the matrix, a couple of tweaks, even give us a suggestion about what they're going to be so that people can prep for that. We're going to introduce the progress bar. We're going to bring up our new reward structure thing, blah, 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 blah. We're going to introduce this. We're going to introduce X. Or when's the app coming? Do you know, when's that coming?
Yeah. Well,
Do you know, a rough idea? And I know they can't give anything away. And I know they're afraid of, again, over-promising and under-delivering. But it's like, just give us fucking something.
Surely if you have it ready, if it's ready, then announce that you're going to announce it. Don't announce it when you've got nothing in place. The SoRare data app is brilliant. And that is where, apart from plugging your teams in, I go there all the time and have a look at that. But yeah, announce stuff when you know it's ready to go. Don't just announce stuff for the sake of it and then it just doesn't happen because you're just annoying and pissing people off. And that's what you don't. Especially people that have been around a long time, obviously, and maybe have quite a lot of money in the platform. But yeah, I would. They've probably got it all, and it's just us moaning because we want a better game to play.
I know,
and that's the situation with it. But I hope that progression bar is as simple as what you've said. And I can't see it.
Yeah, based on what Two Bob's asking there, like how should it look? I think like the progress bar, if anyone's played FIFA Ultimate Team, I think it's just going to be like a running XP bar or a running points total. Someone's at my door and my dog's going to go balubas. Who could possibly be at my door at this time?
That's Nicholas.
That's strange. Nicholas has fucking heard me talking shit. Sent some lads around to my door. Anyway, I'm actually really interested. We don't get people knocking at our door.
There you go.
I wonder if it's like a dodgy cold salesperson. Anyway, what was I even talking about? That's interrupted my trail of thought. The progress bar, I think it's just going to be a running points total or XP thing. That it select numbers. You can. What is happening down there? You can select rewards, XP or Ethereum. You can let it build or you can cash out type of vibes. That's the simple premise. But I hope there's a few more bells and whistles. I think you'll be able to potentially level it up or boost it with like different cards like and scarcities, so if you're playing with super rares, you might get more points to add on to it to get you up to the really higher tiers, and maybe it won't really be possible to get there with just limited cards, so maybe it'll be kind of like by submitting stronger lineups with bigger bonuses, you'll level up quicker, so the bigger players will get bigger rewards and the smaller players will get smaller ones. But again, it's all speculation and I haven't got a clue. Do you know?
Oh, I totally agree. Like I say, you could come up with 1,000 ideas and they'd all seem good. And like I say, all the people on Twitter have got loads of ideas of how things to make things work. And like I say, you listen to everyone and they've all got a valid point. But they've got to make the decision on what direction it's going to go. And like I say, just keep us entertained, because at the moment we are, even though people are moaning about things and might not be happy about stuff, everyone still plays the game.
Do you know what's funny? I've just realized you were saying that you don't really do the Twitter and Discord because of all the moaning, and I brought you onto my podcast to moan at you for an hour.
All right. I sometimes type a tweet and I want to go back and say something, but I thought, what's the point? It can't be. I also want to say about Techers. He had a moan about my coleslaw. I wasn't happy with that. He said I posted a picture for the sake of it, didn't he?
Oh, was he saying you were posting your coleslaw for the likes more than the actual coleslaw?
That's a disgrace. I had to eat beetroot coleslaw that night. It was disgusting. But there we go.
Beetroot coleslaw, yeah. I hate when people try and funk things. Do you know what actually pisses me off about food products? I'm going to call it now. And I've got one really clear example. I hate when people deconstruct stuff or try to be cool about things. When I order a banoffee, I want a biscuit base. I want a bit of condensed milk, the caramel one. I want some bananas and maybe a bit of fresh cream. And do you know, if you're getting fancy, crinkle some flake on top. That's fine. Bit of Galaxy, whatever, Ripple, put it on top. See, when people get all funky with me and give me like deconstructed bullshit or stick it in a glass, get the fuck. It's not for me.
Just the basics will do.
I hate it. I hate when people try and jazz up things that don't need jazzed up. maybe I'm a bit stuck in my ways. Do you know what else on that line I fucking despise? Do you know whenever there's like classic songs that we all love, right? I don't know. I'm gonna pick one out here and "Fly Me to the Moon," right? I know it's the whole like "Fly me to the moon," and then you hear at Christmas. It's always at Christmas. You're sitting down, you're having your lunch, and there's some twat on the radio
It's
who's
remade.
like remade it, but like I get that they're trying to put their own spin on it so that they're a bit unique or like it's theirs, but it's like
What's
just
the
sing the fucking song the way we want it. Yeah, it's like I want to be able to sing along with you and have the crack, but they'll go like "Fly me to the oh, come on moon, da 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 da, ha, ha, ooh," and they like drop a beat every so often, and it pisses me off. Maybe I am a wee bit stuck in ways. I like things how they're supposed to be, but
I wouldn't disagree.
anyway.
Yeah, no, I listened to Techers on that podcast, and I definitely wasn't posting coleslaw for likes. Too old.
It's like an alternate universe. It's like a Rick and Morty sketch. I just cramped mid recording, man. Oh, my hamstring.
Well, that's
Jeez. Okay, we're okay. We're in the clear. Let's see. Another question. There was an interesting one here from Breezy. How do you see the value of super rares and rares playing out over the next few years if we do see the user base grow to 500k plus?
well, I know YNWA says that super rares are so undervalued at the moment. So if we go 500 plus, I would imagine they're going to be through the roof. They're through the roof now, really. If you're looking at it, my opinion. I can't. The benefits they bring, if you get the best ones, are huge. Basically, I know you're sort of that division, aren't you? That end, super rares, or the old Division 2 as such.
One Division 2 team, and that was more out of a bit of luck, but a lot of planning. Like it's only really in the last maybe month and a half since the transfer window that I've pushed up to D2 and under 23s because I had Kulisevsky get a move, Nico Williams get a move, Fabian De Kaiser come in number 1. Like those 3 things were the 3 pieces I needed, and now I am competing in under 23 D2. So yeah, very excited about that.
I think it's with anything though. If you're willing to put the money in and take the risk at that level, then the rewards should be there. You know, and the best players are 5 figures, aren't they? Let's be honest. You know, sort of 8,000 plus or 8,000 whatever euros. But yeah, it's just about risk and reward at the end of the day. And the guys that do it, fair play to them. They're the ones that are there. And I can only see them going higher and higher. But then, if we go to 500,000 users, are we going to go to, like I said earlier, 10,000, sort of 1 to 10,000 a card? And then the rare cards go up as well. So it's all if, buts, and maybes. But the game is endless. The possibilities are endless. And like I say, hopefully they will take us in the right direction. But yeah, super rares and uniques at the moment is just another world for most of us, shall we say.
I think it's one of those that even like rares, like the numbers we're talking about here is that over a player's career, like Mbappe or anyone who plays from their 18 to say 33, and they've been licensed in SoRare from the start, at the end of their career, which could be 10 years away, you're talking a maximum of 1,500 cards. That's rares. If we're talking 500,000 people, like that's obscene. Let's even go to limiteds. You're talking 15,000 for 500,000 people.
Yep.
It's a very small percentage. So the minute you go to the super rare end of things, 150 cards max. A lot of these guys that I have now only have 15 cards. 15 cards and 500k. Like, yeah, they'll be worth stupid money because all the bigwigs that come in and footballers, hopefully, and whoever else that want to play the game, you just name your price.
Yeah.
You know, we see that with uniques particularly. We see it with a lot of super rares, in demand super rares at the minute. If someone wants my Jonathan David, my Yari Verscharen, my Nico Williams, good luck, because I don't care what the last sale was. If no one's selling, no one's selling. If you want them, a bottle bore, you may pay me what I want. Now, whenever with 500,000 users, rares could be like that too. You know, I mean, it could be a really limited market. Some of the best players, there might only be 1 or 2 on the market at any time.
Did anyone think that a Gakpo Limited would be selling for best part of £1,000. When it started, it was, I suppose, they wanted it available to anyone, didn't they? The platform, that was the idea. But there's some limiteds now. You've got no chance of buying if you're just an average user that wants to get started. And the number of people playing is going up and up daily. So, like you say, if you're talking 500,000, why are you not talking 1 million people? So in a year's time, who knows what we'll be doing. But I can't see it stopping anytime soon, shall we say.
Yep. It'll be interesting because, I mean, even like an example I always have, even now in the rare division, is the likes of Trent. You'll normally find with Trent at the minute, I nearly bet the guy over recently. If he listens, quick, you know who you are. And he did well to avoid it because I nearly had him. I nearly had his Andy Robertson super rare and a Bastoni for a Trent because Trent is so in demand. Yes, he scores well. Liverpool, amazing player, under 23 for now. There's a million reasons why you'd want him. But of the 83 rare cards out there, I'd say, I don't even know the number, but a handful at best are probably in the hands of people that are even thinking of trading them. It's like a diamond hand market. It's like its own little market in itself. Like Trent holders, there's not many people want to sell. If you go and look at the market at the minute, there's one who has them up for 4.5 ETH. Outside that, who's that? That is a guy Raffles, right? Outside that, people have them listed for 7.5 ETH, 8 ETH, 10 ETH, because no one really wants to sell him.
Yeah, no one wants to sell him really.
And it's the same like with, like, say, the Nico Williams super rare. There's like 4 of them or something. Me, Harry Trades, who's Welsh, won't want to sell him. YNWA won't want to sell him. I don't know who the other guy is. When you get cards like that, and the more users come on, rares will become more like that. It's really hard to pick them up, and then the auctions become more competitive because you're not getting them off managers because they want them.
Yeah.
So prices are only going to go up, is what I'd say. If we do get the more people that come on, and if SoRare keep making the right moves, and if the Premier League was to happen, and if there's other sports, and if X, Y, and Z, there's no reason why the prices shouldn't keep rising. Because if the supply is coming in and it's outweighing the demand, if the demand's coming in and it's outweighing the supply, I just can't see it dropping. And over time, though, over time, I'm not saying they'll never dip. Of course, maybe someday they could. I mean, you never know. There could be something bad news, something happens. Anything can happen. But I mean, in the short term, on the sort of hockey stick growth we're seeing, short to mid term, why would it stop?
No. There's so much that they could do. And like I say, once they actually start advertising properly, it will be massive. I've been on the platform long enough, I'm pretty sure to say that I remember a rare Mbappe being £1,000. I don't know what it was in ETH at the time, and then 5 minutes later they were selling for 20 grand, and they haven't really dropped that much below that since at rare prices. So they all the cards seem to hold their value at the top end, and like I say, if we're going to 500,000 or 1 million, 2 million, who knows? The cards are only going to be what they are. They're not going to be any more, and the prices will go with them as well. So I'm hanging on to some of my cards for as long as possible.
What I'm thinking now is, even with this super rare one today that I'm a bit disappointed in, I think now any super rares I get, I might just keep, unless I see them going down in value very soon. If it's something that I think, he's got a bad transfer in him, or he's 35 or whatever else, I mean, why not just keep him now? I'll just hang on to him, because you just never know what that super rare could be worth. It's the classic one of people who sold Mbappe's pre-Gary V boom, or anyone. Like, the regret there. I think super rares are going to just become so unattainable over time. And there's so much bitching about D2. Again, I trust them to fix it because it is broken. It's just a matter of time. And when that happens, it's like the legends. When that happens, if you have faith in them, which I do long term,
I think they've got
opportunity.
They've got such a great product that people like playing. They must know that they need to change a few things. I don't get involved with those prizes at D2, but I just think, like I say, they must sit there and have these conversations and basically put things right. But you wanna know when they're being put right, not just sort of randomly announced, I suppose. But I would certainly hold on to any blue cards you've got, because you don't know, they could just rock it any point.
Absolutely. Well, look, we're getting towards the end. I need to bounce very shortly. I'm going off to Manchester this week. By the time people hear this, I'll already have been there, meeting up with a bunch of SoRare managers for some dinner, going to the Man City Sporting Lisbon game. So I need to get packed, and I'm working a night duty tonight. So all that context out of the way, we're going to play the 137 game to round up, as we always do. Last week, Mike nailed it. Now, there was an Opta adjustment. This will be that I haven't messaged him about it since. He thought he'd won the Atibo. I thought he'd won the Atibo, but I think Gedson Fernandez ended up getting rounded up to 100, and I brought him from something like 137.8. He nailed it nearly to like 138.4 or something. So he didn't nail 137, but it is probably the second or third best score ever. For the record, again, going forward, to win the infamous Atibo, the grandest prize in SoRare, you need to nail 137. And what that means is 136.5 to 137.4. I'm going by their classic round up, round down vibe. So give me your players for the week.
I'm going to go with Jonathan David,
because I like it.
He is my main striker. And I'm going to go with my first buy on the platform, and that is Mamadou Kamara from St Etienne.
I used to have him.
I don't know why I bought him first. He looked good, so I thought I'll spend 38 quid on you, and I've kept him ever since. So
he must have some XP.
He has. I've got quite a few that have got decent XP. But those are my two, Jonathan David and Kamara, and see how they can do in the French fixtures, whatever they've got this week.
Brilliant. I love it. I'm just going back now. I'm actually really interested in Kamara. Yeah, he's got the big 7.5%, level 15. I love it. Look, Darren, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much. Thanks for listening to my ranting. I hadn't really planned that, but that's just how it happened. Discord was also down, and that's why throughout the podcast we didn't reference direct quotes and stuff, but it's back now. And a big thank you to you as well. You're recording with me over Champions League games. Munich are 4-0 up, and Liverpool and Inter 0-0. I hope you weren't planning on watching them afterwards, recording or something. So, look, is there anywhere you want to be found, or anywhere you want to be contacted, or anything you want to plug?
No, I'm. You'll find me on Twitter. That's about it. I don't really get involved in Discord, so yeah, Twitter's fine. I chat to a lot of the guys anyway. I give loads of them a mention that have helped me out. But yeah, that's where the best place to get hold of me is. I'll chat to anyone and be around. Like I say, I'm around for the long haul. Enjoy it. That's the reason why I'm here. And then one day I'll run off with a massive gallery sold, shall we say?
Sell to Pavel. Never.
Ever.
Soul of the devil. All right. Well, look, it's an absolute pleasure. It's at SoRare_Dazzer on Twitter. It'll be plastered all over my Twitter, and you'll see him in the description of this pod. And thank you so much for listening. See you later, Darren.
Thanks, mate.
Thank you so much for watching this week's episode. If you did enjoy it, please do subscribe. You'll catch it next week. And like the video. Comment below and let us know anything you agree or disagree with. And we'll chat to you next week for another one. Bye-bye.